as a new landlord, maybe you say, okay, in the next term, I want to take this out. I want to be able to rent to your competitors. All right, so this is for larger mall. And in Singapore right now, we may not be having a customer who can buy a big mall, right? But there's no stopping Singaporeans from being able to buy a big mall in ASEAN region, right? In Southeast Asia region. Okay, the third strategy is when people, they study the economic and demographic pattern in a certain location, all right, and then they see which industry is coming up, which industry is coming down. All right, this is most basic. When you go to a country that you may not be very familiar, you yourself may have some investment there. All right, so like for example, let's say your family is in certain production, then you go to Vietnam, okay, then you start to have a factory over there and all that. So while you are there, you say, okay, let's invest in some property, right? Because Singaporeans, we have seen many development cycle. So when you go to places like Vietnam or maybe even Laos, you go to places like that, or maybe Cambodia, then you look at it and say that, hey, this is really like Singapore in the 70s. All right, then you say, okay, let's commission a study on which industry is coming up in this place that I'm right now located, okay, or position. And then you say, okay, let's spend some money to buy something there. All right, so this chart is I would say simplified version of this kind of studies. All right, now just give an example. Property type B in Singapore will always be residential. The reason is very simple. The reason is that almost 90% of the residents in Singapore live in the house that they own. So in other words, we have a very high ownership rate. So there will always be exchange. Right? That means you upgrade, you downgrade, or you cash out. So therefore, residential will always outperform the rest, right? So now the question is, what about others? Now, if you ask me, retail is definitely on the way down. The explanation is actually in another principle. Retail is definitely on the way down. The reason is because of online purchase. Now, so warehouse and factories, they are definitely on the way up. Probably somewhere here. Retail is somewhere here. All right. Okay. Now, so investors would specialize only in the preferred sector. So this one changes all the time. All right. Probably every 10, 15 years, there's certain industry that will start to go down. All right. So in other regional countries, they may start to go into maybe certain high-end production that came out of China. So down there, you may have this kind of opportunity. Just give you one example. Now, one day, my own brother-in-law, who is right now has some business exposure in Vietnam. So one day we went to IMM. So I wanted to buy shoe, sports shoe. So then we go into sports stations we go into Nike Puma and all that just basically just shop around. And then I say that, the other day I just bought something online, Adidas. I say, the embroidery is very nice. The Adidas, the embroidery. All right. So embroidery, the 刺绣 embroidery. I said, the embroidery is very nice. Somehow it's gold color, shiny, very nice. and then my